All right, we're live.
Yay.
So have you guys ever looked at a full IEP before?
Yes. I actually have. I have personally actually had an IEP since 5th grade. End of 4th grade is when my process actually started, and then 5th grade was when it was implemented. So I've looked at my own IEP, obviously, since then, and which has given me a little bit of insight actually leading into a special education, my master's program, kind of understanding the background of an IEP and everything. So I personally have, yes.
Nice.
That's really
How about you, Tiffany? Oh, sorry.
My first time looking at an IEP was actually this class. So it was interesting to be like, oh, okay, well, this is actually what I'm supposed to be working with. And I've always heard about IEPs, but I never knew exactly how they were structured. And now I'm very thankful that there is students like us that are getting their masters to be able to work with stuff like that, because I feel like it's a lot of work and something that takes a lot of heart to do.
It takes a lot of time for sure.
My first encounter with an IEP was probably my last job as an HI. I did quality assurance for them. So I got a lot of IEPs coming in to maintain their files and stuff. But I never thoroughly looked at them because I didn't want to impede on their confidentiality. So I just briefly looked through them to see what's kind of in there, but I definitely didn't get to really look into them until this class. So, yeah.
Mine was so like 3 years ago when I started working at Boise High, my mentor teacher was like, okay, go make copies so we can send them to the district. That was probably my first time. But it's kind of cool to see like what is in it, because we're always told about these IEPs, but now we actually get a look at it and see what it entails. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So question 1 he wanted us to go over was, after reviewing your secondary transition forms, what questions do you have about completing them as opposed to gathering information in weeks 1 through 4? Questions.
I just think that I personally just don't really have like specific questions. I just think like I don't know still enough about the overall topic of secondary transition. And it was hard for me to apply the modules and this topic to what I'm doing right now, because I'm in the elementary setting. And Chloe, I know that you're in the high school, right? So I think everyone else is in elementary, right, guys? Yeah, I think that's what we all said. So I think it was probably harder for you guys as well, applying this section to what we're working with and kind of connecting with it more. So I think it was harder for me to actually understand the whole thing because I couldn't connect with it. So I guess an overall question is just an overall understanding more of the topic.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I think I just want to know the whole process of it. I don't think I'll fully understand it until I'm actually, like sit down in like a meeting or whatever, and they go through the process of it and through each section. I don't know. I really don't know much about it either, so it will help. And like the interviews too will definitely help. Like I just want to know the process.
Well, that's a good point. Like, even though this is like my third year in high school, I still haven't had the chance to sit down in an IEP which really sucks because that's where we learn, like, how do we start an IEP?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've been part of the process where we have our kids practice in front of us so they feel comfortable because, you know, it's about them. We want them to be involved. But that's my goal this year, is to actually be a part of one. But it's usually like second or third period, and then I have to be in charge of the class, like while she's in an IEP, so it's kind of hard. But yeah, I think like once we're actually in it, it'll be a lot easier to like see the steps and like what's required.
Are you going to get the opportunity to be a part of an IEP this year since it's your student teaching, or?
Teacher said for sure I'll be part of an IEP meeting and a transition meeting for sure. So yeah, I don't know when, but it will happen sometime. So we'll see.
I have my first IEP meeting next week. Yes, next week. So that'll be interesting, considering like the interviews and filling stuff out like that, mixed with seeing an actual completed IEP with the student that I'm kind of working with already. So it'd be nice to compare and contrast things that I have written down versus the actual IEP.
And
I
you're
don't
in
know.
preschool, right? Sorry, go ahead.
What was the question?
Here you go. You're good.
You're in preschool, right, Kat?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And have you met those parents before or know anything about them?
They are the most active parents out of all of the students that are in the classroom. So they're in a lot. Their child's the only one that doesn't ride the bus. And so I see them every day when they get dropped off and picked up.
That's good then.
Yeah, Chloe, I didn't even realize that they have two like separate meetings for IEP and transition. I mean, that makes sense, but when you said that, I was like, oh, there's like multiple meetings.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, but for some of our I guess more difficult kids with behaviors, they're really important meetings. So like my mentor teacher brought a vice principal, a counselor, and herself, you know, to really show like these are the rules here. So you know, like you can't do this. So those behaviors aren't going to be allowed here. So I think that's kind of important to figure out like which kids I guess need it more than others, even though like you should have a transition meeting.
Yeah.
So I think that part's pretty important. What else I was going to say was when the children are in elementary schools, they don't go to their IEPs, do they? Do you guys know that?
As of right now, it's just kind of optional, I believe, based on the parents. I'm pretty sure, right?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because I know, at least with my kids, one, they don't really understand what's going on, and two, they don't have the attention span to sit down for like a meeting. And
that's true. I guess like ERR versus resource room. Yeah. That makes sense.
My student is not attending the IEP meeting next week, so I'm guessing that's a no.
Right. I mean, in kindergarten, you don't really know what's going on, so that makes sense.
I feel like parents prefer not to bring their kids just because, like, you know, to maintain focus of the purpose of the meeting. Because a lot of them, they just, don't have the attention to sit there for however long. How long are IEP meetings usually?
I think it just depends on the kid. Like, it could be an hour, it could be 2 hours. It just, I guess it just depends on like how much they have to talk about.
It does really depend. I mean, just from my own experience, like I've had meetings that have gone like 3 hours, and then I've had meetings that have gone in like 45 minutes. It kind of just like depends on how that year went and any new goals and objectives that we need to change, add, adjust, really kind of anything that we need to change with the IEP. And also, I mean, in the high school situation, if your kids like go to a general ed classroom, their input is also taken into account. So it's not just like the ERR teacher. So I know that's like hugely important as well.
Yeah, we always ask our kids, what gen ed teacher do you want to come to your meeting?
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard when they all want the same gen ed teacher, because plan that out. Oh, I have to be gone for 15 minutes, so then I have to go watch the class, or,
I remember
so I
my
think organization.
I remember my senior year in high school, my resource teacher would send out like to each of my teachers and be like, okay, like Jenny's IEP meeting is this date. We're trying to do it at this time. Let us know if you can come for this long. We don't need you to stay the whole time. The only person that came was my dance teacher, because I had to take dance for an elective, as if my IEP even applied to dance. And none of my actual academic teachers even showed up.
Wow.
I was like, you guys, I really appreciate you being there for me. And my dance teacher was like, yeah, she's doing great. She's great. She's focusing. She's energetic. Like, we don't need your input, honey. You're good.
Right.
Especially in a high school setting, you need as many teachers there as possible.
Mm-hmm. I guess any other specific questions you guys can think of besides an overall thing? I'm looking at it. I'm trying to figure out another question.
So these are the forms, like just in Idaho, or I guess that's one question I have.
I believe that, this is like a district, like I showed this to my mentor teacher, and she said it's a district-wide IEP form.
Oh.
She told me, but
yeah, because at the bottom, if you're looking on Amber's IEP, it says the Independent School District of Boise City.
Oh, okay.
So I wonder, like, how different the structure would be in a different district, because I actually am in the Twin Falls School District, so I wonder how that will differ as well.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, so I've actually had an experience with this. One of my students transferred this past year, so we have to redo his IEP because it's in a new district. And it's very interesting, the dynamics between what one district allows to kind of like slide by or not really assess, and whereas like the district that I'm in is very on top of their stuff and is like, well, why wasn't that tested, or well, why isn't it written this way? Whereas the other IEP that he originally had was very just cookie cutter, didn't really give enough detail. So we're basically having to go in and redo his whole IEP.
That's sad.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of work too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This last one.
And also like what I've seen a couple times this year is like, obviously in high school, they've had IEPs for a while now, and sometimes the goals aren't, and obviously I don't know the situation of the teacher, but like sometimes the goals aren't like as good as they could be. I mean, I'm no one to judge, but like you said, like more descriptive and stuff to like help help the student would be really helpful. Just more details, I guess.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Should we move on to the next question?
Sure.
Okay. It says, explore the role of assessment in completing the secondary transition form. The role of assessment.
Don't you have to make or administer assessments to figure out a lot of it?
I mean, in here, there's like state and district assessments, you know, like the ISAT, and like would they need like accommodations depending on their disability?
But with
I guess that's-
secondary transition, wasn't it talking about like almost like personality tests and like what they want to do as a job? Wasn't it like kind of talking about stuff like that?
Right. I'm just not sure, I guess, like what kind of assessment. I guess it could be
Any?
any assessments. That would be one, right? Like their interests
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Like what accommodations they'll need for different assessments because they have to prepare for like the SAT or whatever ACT.
Mhm.
So see that right here, IEP team preparation for the SAT and ACT and Compass test.
I hate like I keep bringing it back to like my own experience with my IEP, but I got accommodations on my ACT because I only took the ACT, and I got to take it in my resource classroom at school, at my own school, on a weekend over 2 days,
Mhm.
and it was like me and just one other kid in my class, and so, but granted, like it took about 3 to 6 months to get my accommodations through that. So I was super behind in taking it compared to everyone else.
Mhm.
But you can get accommodations. It's just a lot.
So you got double time for your test.
Yeah. So yeah, even now, in my undergrad, and if I need it in my graduate level, I get double time. I get extension on some assignments as well as some other things.
Mhm.
And I get a natural reader. So I had someone sitting there and like reading the test to me.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I got double time. So I took it over 2 days. I got breaks whenever I needed them. And
Nice.
yeah, and I got like a separate setting. So literally one kid was in the front of the class and I was in the back of the class. And it was my teacher who was like who was proctoring the test. So it was perfect
Nice.
for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Um,
Good to know that things like that, like standardized tests, like you can have accommodations for.
right.
When it comes to Amber and exploring the role of the assessment, I guess my main question would be, what are the things exactly that we need to assess in order to get her the accommodations to complete the secondary transition course? So I'm like making a list of everything that she needs to be assessed on.
Well, then here's my question. So if she needs, do we like find her like a job that she wants and then assess what skills that job needs and assess her skills and like compare that? Do you guys understand what I'm asking?
Mhm.
And so
Right.
how do we go about that? Do we find the job first, then go through the assessment? Because I know we're supposed to go through like what she wants in a job.
Right.
So do kind of work backwards is from what I'm saying.
So it's almost like you could give an assessment to figure out like what she wants to do and then put her in that environment and see how she does.
Mhm.
And you can assess like, oh, we need to put her somewhere else and try something different. Is that what you mean?
Well, so say I'm Amber, and so we saw that she loves to work with like books and computers and stuff like that. Say she wants to work in a library, work at the front desk. So that's a job that's open. Okay, so we know the skills needed for that job. Okay, let's assess Amber. Does she meet the requirements for that job? Is that what we do? Do we like have her like pick a job, find the skills for that job, and see if she can do that? So do we work backwards? I guess do you guys get one thing, or am I kind of just going around in circles?
I get what you're
No,
saying.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know how we can assess her for a job because each job has a different skill set. We don't know what the job is.
Right. Right. That sounds logical to me.
Well, thanks.
Um, assessments. Are there any other assessments we can think of?
None that I can think of.
Looking through this IEP.
I mean, I know that one with the module that we had to do last week, I think it was, about like the assessments was supposed to help us, and it kind of did, but kind of it was a lot of information.
Yeah, it should have been like 2 separate modules.
Yeah.
Agree. I think going through it, there was a lot of information that was redundant, but at the same time, they were adding little bits and pieces of new information. So it got confusing trying to remember what was said, but then added.
Yeah.
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 Mhm. Well, can't add anything else. I mean, you know, we can't. Anything else you guys want to add?
Not at the moment.
We're good? Okay.
Right.
Katerina, do you think you could send the link again?
I can.
Okay, cool. All right, are you guys good?
Very good.
Sounds good.
All right,
Hey.
okay. Cool, I'll stop the broadcast. I'll see you guys next time.
Not same time. Is it the 6 o'clock next time? Or try to?
Yes, that should work for me. I don't know about you guys.
It'll work for me.
It usually works.
Okay, thanks for changing this time. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.